as I'm recording this, I thought, let me check on the team yesterday for Manchester United versus Arsenal, which Arsenal won 1-0. And I noticed Leeds were playing Everton, 65 minutes, and it's 0-0. I think we all know what's going to happen to those two teams. I don't think they're going to be setting any good standards for the rest of us. I think they've just come to participate. They'll get a participation medal. That's it. They're not taking us very far. But yeah, I feel terrible because I really like to watch all games. But yeah, I might tune in after this recording. Right, so after my emotional crazy outburst yesterday about how horrendous Arsenal were, because I was like, Arsenal, only because I recorded 5 minutes or 10 minutes after that intense game between Man U and Arsenal, I was under pressure. There were times where I could not catch my breath because it was relentless, So now that I've calmed down and I'm literally being more logical instead of being emotional. I'm very emotional. And most of the time when it comes to Arsenal, Zambia, international tournaments, logic goes out of the window. But logic is back in. I'm being more reasonable. And I was just thinking about how things went yesterday. My opinion hasn't changed, but I want to just emphasize everybody who's having a laugh at Victor Gyökeres saying that, he was, rubbish. No, he wasn't. It just hasn't clicked yet. You guys, Victor Gyökeres is going to be just fine. He's going to be just fine. There's no need to get all stressed and start mocking him. The movements he was making yesterday and some of the runs, you can tell this guy has got what it takes. He did look a bit labored. I did say in one of my older videos, the Club Athletic one, that he looked a bit labored after some runs. He didn't look completely fit, but once they do their work, I think he'll be running up a storm. And the good thing is we've got, Kai Havertz looking humongous and in beast mode. So we've got a player who knows how to play for Arsenal. So that position in terms of goals is secured. Now, first game of the season, I've got even more beef with Gabriel Martinelli now after calming down. Gabriel Martinelli, oh my goodness. Honestly, we need to do something about Gabriel Martinelli. He's not a bad player, but at the moment where we are so desperate to go a step further than we have in the last 3 seasons, he seems to be 2 steps behind our ambitions, in my opinion. I don't think he is the dynamic player we need there. We need somebody with an extra spark who is just about 20% better than Gabriel Martinelli for us to completely have a guaranteed chance of winning the Premier League. That's what we need. I wouldn't want to see him leave the club. I would like him to perform better, to do better, because he was making some ridiculous mistakes. Not just everyone was making mistakes. We're not great, but it's almost like, it's like he's never played with us before. He just doesn't do everything right. He had some moments where you can see the potential. Other people have seen comments, because I listen to a lot of other people as well, just to make sure that I'm not completely crazy. They said he did a lot off the ball. He was really effective off the ball, but, can we get some action on the ball, please, Gabriel Martinelli? Just if you can. Declan Rice, someone said the same thing, great work off the ball. He had that great corner he took, which was delivered perfectly. We love that, of course. We wanted to be more comfortable, obviously, in the game. We weren't, but you have to remember this is the first competitive game he's played with Zubimendi, and that combination, Zubimendi in the middle and Gyökeres. So there was a bit of instability. And you remember, the position he was playing in was probably where Zubimendi was, I think, sort of. And he played a lot with Miles Lewis-Skelly last season, you see. So probably a bit off the pace, or he's probably too protective. The thing is, we will have to wait a bit longer. And I heard other reports saying, we're very lucky as well that we caught Manchester United in the first game of the season when they are also transitioning new players into their team competitively. And I agree with that. Because I reckon 5 games into the season and they play like they did yesterday, they would finish us off completely. But then we'd also have better cohesion because our back four, our defense was immense. I mean, we had our share of luck, of course. There was a challenge from Saliba on Cunha last season. I reckon that could have been a penalty. We didn't concede it as a penalty. For me, it was borderline, not 50-50, but 60-40, where, you know, it's because we are so used to getting penalized for every small thing from last season. If it had been given, I would have been, oh, here we go again. Because you know what would have happened if it had been given? Everyone, because they hate Arsenal, everyone would have tried to justify it, to say, oh, yeah, in the book, blah, 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 there was contact, but it was 50-50. You know, yeah, and Saliba didn't necessarily win the ball, but he did not also take out Matthias Cunha. Is it Matthias Cunha? He didn't take him out. But our defense is what is going to save us. That is the beauty, I think, of Arsenal the last 3 seasons and the mistakes we've made. If we can keep our defense fit, Declan Rice hardly ever gets injured. If we can keep him fit and not burn him out, I think we've got a very good chance of doing really well. Avoid, you know, I think Manu's relentlessness yesterday really set me on edge. But I don't think we are going to face many teams that motivated. You know, Arsenal is always a bit too passionate. You know, always a bit too passionate, but we always come out either battered and bruised with a draw the last few seasons. And then seasons before, we would lose after playing amazingly. So playing badly and being uncomfortable for 85 minutes of the game, 87 minutes of the game, I was so uncomfortable. And coming away with a 1-0 win, I'm taking that all day long. And I'm not going to be too overcritical, but I am desperate for Martin Odegaard to find his form. I'm not going to criticize him too much because to me, I value him quite a lot. Nwaneri does not give us the same stuff that Odegaard gives us, even when he's playing this badly. My issue with Nwaneri is strength. I don't think he has matured and he's got that strength yet that you need there. And the decision making you need when you're a more mature player. You know, I don't think he's got that. You in that position where Odegaard plays, you need a leader. And Nwaneri is still a young guy who probably has got 4 more years to get that kind of confidence to, I can't even speak English at the moment, to have that sort of presence. Yeah, to have that presence in midfield where you're like, you know, I just feel like the defenders and other midfielders in the Premier League will just sweep him off. They will absolutely eat him alive. So yeah, he'll come on in certain games, I think, with teams that are not Manchester United, teams that are almost polite, like maybe a Fulham, who are like really good. They were really good last season, but they're not aggressive. They're not trying to eat you up alive. They're trying to play a nice game. And then you all go home, shake hands because it's been a great matchup. We are all friends, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, there'll be certain games like that starting in those games. Bukayo Saka, it's only a matter of time. Yesterday's game was really tough because everybody, oh my God, Manchester United were like on heat. They were mad. And Bukayo Saka got swallowed up. He got swallowed up. Everything he tried was nullified by everybody. He was pocketed, but not in a bad way. You know, games like that are needed for everybody. Let's see. Riccardo Calafiori, very good. In my opinion, this guy is our main left back. Keep him fit. He's got everything, hasn't he? He's got pace. He can defend. He's attacking. You know, so if you put a player in front of him who's happy to guard that spot, I think Merino did a better job of guarding that spot when he came on. When, you know, I think he would do a better. If you are playing a midfield where Merino is playing as well as Declan Rice and Odegaard and Calafiori, I think we'll have more stability the way I like it. The way I like it. Because I don't like the gaps we're leaving. Man U, made our midfield disappear. We had no control in midfield. But everyone's talking about Zubimendi. Apparently, was the turnover king or something like that. I didn't see that. There are certain things I don't see when I'm watching on telly. I didn't see it. He wasn't swallowed alive, but I think first game of the season, he definitely learned a lot about the Premier League the other day. And we can only win from this spot with him, because he's got such a good reputation and he showed already what he's capable of. It's just that the game against Manchester United was a baptism of fire. Now, in terms of Manchester United, and please join me because I've got a guest coming on, a very good friend of mine who's a big Manchester United fan and supporter. She's coming on and we're going to have a discussion about the game and what's happening with Manchester United. And I want to hear our opinion on this team, because I think buying Brian Mbeumo, who I thought was pretty decent, I didn't actually think he was sensational before, and Matthias Cunha, I always fancied, because it's very easy to see his impact on the field, but I didn't see the same with Mbeumo. I always thought, he's playing, but he never really impressed me a lot. I thought they were sensational. So when Amorim comes out and says, we proved that we can beat every team in the league, I had a little laugh about that. I was like, you don't prove you're going to beat every team in the league by losing 1-0. But I knew exactly what he meant. Because he could have beat Arsenal yesterday if they had played maybe 4 days at home. If they had played maybe 4 days, 4 games in. If it was game 4, I reckon, and we turned up the way we turned up, they would have beaten Arsenal, because they had everything else except that small thing where the ball goes into the net. That is, they just needed a bit of luck and they would have won that game. I can see that happening. Mason Mount, Luke Shaw ran for England, but people like Luke Shaw, Mason Mount, these even like what's his name, even Harry Maguire, players like that, they know you have to beat Arsenal. They just have that inborn character to beat Arsenal. They want to beat them. Anything else that happens, they would rather lose to, Leeds or a funny team, even Man City, but they need to beat Arsenal. And yes, it wasn't yesterday, was it yesterday, Sunday? On Sunday, these guys were running for England. They were amazing. Casemiro, some criticism, but I think he did all right. Lenny Yoro, I didn't see a lot of him, but you know what? He kept everybody quiet. He Arsenal, everything that they were doing. I saw Bruno Fernandes trying to take a free kick. Obviously, he didn't go in the back of the net, so I didn't pay attention to it. But everything they did together, Patrick Dogu was running like a demon. Bayindir, you guys, you need a new keeper. But then again, is it worth training him? He's terrible with, corners, anything over the top. He's terrible. I don't think it's a skill you can learn easily. You either have it or you don't. You know who's got it? It's that guy from Aston Villa who used to play for Arsenal, who won the World Cup for Argentina. Emiliano Martinez. So Martinez is available, right? I think he is available because he's one of those players, he's mouthy. Emi Martinez is mouthy. He looks like he's very naughty. He looks like one of those players who would pee in the sink, but that guy, put him in goal in this team. You are not going to be conceding all those goals you are conceding with Onana and this Bayindir guy. Because when Arteta got rid of him to keep Leno, I was fuming. I couldn't believe it. And that is the first time I questioned Arteta's decision making, because I thought Martinez was a superior keeper. He's got the attitude, he's got a winner's attitude, he's, but with the skill. So yeah, get a player like him in, and you guys, I think you can guarantee yourselves a top 6, top 7 top position at the end of the season. So Man U, for me, regardless keeper. And I hear that Onana wasn't injured. He was just sort of set aside. That's what I hear. But they reported that he's got a hamstring injury. I can't imagine he would have come out because Onana is, one of those players. But yeah, they need a new keeper, and Emilio Martinez, go get that guy. Because I think Manchester United are going to do really well. I'm going to talk about that again soon. But yeah, so in terms of my changes, I think in approach and stuff, Chelsea, over the weekend on Saturday, were sort of underwhelming. I don't know if they'll continue doing that. They're going to win some big games. They might have a good cup run. Definitely will not be challenging for the Premier League again. But, if you're not going to beat a team like Crystal Palace at home, it doesn't even make sense. I think they'll have a decent cup run. But yeah, 0-0 over the weekend. Tottenham took out Burnley. They did really well, but we've seen a lot of Tottenham recently, haven't they? Because they were in the final of the Europa Cup. They were in the final of the Super Cup, and they acquitted themselves very well, but they went all crazy. They just did what they do and just couldn't finish the job. And their manager has got a great sense of humor. Despite being an Arsenal fan, I sort of like politely mock Tottenham, but I don't have that thing. I didn't grow up in North London. I don't have super beef with them. I watch them because, whatever. But yeah. So anyway, thank you for joining me, and we'll talk soon. I better go.